right, how's everybody doing tonight? Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. Hopefully I hit the ratio correctly of science and comedy. But my name's Dan, I'm an ecologist, and I spent over 15 years working as a field research technician. Now, technicians are the tradies of science. Yeah, we run all the equipment, we make sure that things are working. If something goes wrong, we've got to fix it. We're really proud of our tools, and we're the most likely group to have something blow up in our face. So it's just like you see science in the cartoons. The other reason that technicians are the tradies of science is that we've got to get up at the crack of dawn, have a quick breakfast, and then head out for a long day of field work. So don't ask me to choose between a sausage roll and a pie, because I'll have both. I mean, it's 5 a.m. and I've got to make sure I've got a lot of fuel before I stand out in a field all day. When people see me for the first time, they notice that I'm unkempt and unshaven. But there's a benefit to being an unkempt ecologist. Being unkempt is part of a wildlife. Plus, people think that I'm coming back from field work or just about to go out on field work, when in reality, I've spilt food on myself or I just can't find the iron. It also eliminates the expectation that I ever would iron. I run something called the Upper Murrumbidgee Water Watch program. This is a program that's been running for over 30 years in our region. Now, we do this in the Murray-Darling Basin, which is Australia's largest water system. And the Upper Murrumbidgee catchment is where water from the Snowy Mountains starts making its journey down to the ocean near Adelaide. Now, I'm really into waterways. I'm so into waterways that it always looks like I've spent too long in the bath. Except I'm sunburnt and sweaty. I'm so into waterways that I've built a beach at home with the sand that I've gotten out of my work boots. It's a great beach, but it really doesn't smell fantastic. However, when I'm fresh and clean, I work with people in the community to look after our waterway systems, monitor them, and help look for platypus. When I tell people about Waterwatch, they say, "Waterwatch, do you just look at Lake Burley-Griffin?" They say, "Waterwatch, you must help people at parties stay hydrated." Or they say, "Waterwatch, my Waterwatch is good to a depth of 50 metres. Sometimes I'll help them test this by throwing them into the bottom of Lake Burley-Griffin. "Tell me about your Waterwatch, I dare you. Come on." Actually, you'll be fine. The lake's average depth is only about 4 metres. The great thing about the Waterwatch program is that anybody can get involved. When somebody volunteers with us, we call them a citizen scientist. Waterwatch provides training and mentoring to ensure a high standard of data collection amongst our volunteers. In fact, after working as a scientist for 15 years, I sometimes think they collect better data than I do. Now, what does Waterwatch do? You might think that we're like nosy neighbours peering out from behind the curtains, trying to watch what's going on, what's going down the drain. Have you left your taps on? But actually, we're much more likely to be peering out from behind the reeds, checking if those things are the case. From behind the reeds, Waterwatch volunteers look for things like frogs, platypus, and water bugs. Oh, water bugs. Sorry about that. Our citizen scientists use this data to create a picture of what's going on in our ecosystem and a part of an early warning system to alert the right people if things go wrong. Through our system, we can make sure that we can look after our waterways and things don't go too far. What makes Canberra a unique place is that it's a planned city designed to integrate nature and the urban lifestyle. I love this, but sometimes I could do without a possum running across the roof at 3 a.m. Canberra is the biggest city in the Murray-Darling Basin, and we have to make sure that our waterways stay healthy as the city continues to grow. Now, the easiest draw is when I mention platypus. Now that I've got your attention too, let me show you some of the things that we're doing with Upper Murrumbidgee Waterwatch about platypus and how you can get involved. Platypus are iconic and elusive, and they're the mascots of the waterways of the Upper Murrumbidgee, because people seem more excited about them than they are about these guys. Let me hear it if you love snails, leeches, and flatworms. Okay, well, maybe in this crowd they're everyone's favourite, but in the outside world, they really don't hold so much sway. But luckily, these bugs and the platypus are linked. You see, platypus need to spend lots of energy swimming, which means they need to eat all the time. They eat disgusting spineless creatures. These disgusting spineless creatures. These spineless creatures are aquatic macroinvertebrates, or water bugs. A macroinvertebrate is an animal organism that you can see with your naked eye and that doesn't have a backbone. Macroinvertebrates include insects, crustaceans, mollusks, worms, and arachnids. So you can see why we're focusing on the cuddly, charismatic creatures. Platypus need to eat a lot of food to power their swimming and to keep warm in the water. In fact, a platypus needs to eat 1/3 of its body weight every day, which is like me needing to eat 25 pizzas every day. So, obviously when I'm reincarnated, I'll choose to be a platypus. And obviously if a platypus was ordering pizza, it would be meat lovers with extra prawn. The average platypus weighs a little bit under 2 kilos, and water bugs, well, they're generally pretty tiny. In fact, to get to the almost 1/2 kilo of food that a platypus needs to eat every day, it needs to eat between 13,000 and 60,000 macroinvertebrates. How is that even possible? Well, a platypus is a top-order predator and an excellent hunter, and the platypus possesses a sixth sense like a shark. The platypus has electroreceptors in its bill, which are able to detect the movement of the small macroinvertebrates in the water, and it can hunt them down. Just when you thought it was safe to go into the water. In addition to being like sharks, platypus are also like tradies. They dig holes, they manage the water flow, and they work with electricity. They're always up at the crack of dawn, they're in demand, and they're hard to find. They eat their breakfast on the go, and they'll leave a site if there isn't anything good to be had, because they've got to work hard all day. Because of this feeding requirement, Waterwatch uses citizen science platypus surveys to get an indication of the health of our waterways. Abundant platypus numbers means abundant water bugs, and abundant water bugs means a thriving ecosystem and an intact ecology. As I mentioned, Canberra is the biggest city in the Murray-Darling Basin, and every home is connected to a waterway. But sadly, you can't use this fact to fish from your front porch. But what you do in your home will affect those fish in our rivers and waterways. Water that flows off our homes and down the stormwater drain enters the waterways untreated. And depending what's on our driveways or on our roofs, this can run off, can impact the water bugs, and then impact the platypus. Water bug populations are an excellent indicator of environmental quality in the water. So Waterwatch volunteers also keep track of water bug numbers throughout our catchment. You see, water bugs have different sensitivities to pollutions. So when we survey the population, we can understand if pollutants have entered the waterway, depending on the abundance and diversity of the water bugs present. When pollutants enter the system, less water bugs are available, and the platypus is more likely to go hungry. They're just like sitting there, wondering where their Uber Eats are. This river, 1 star. However, lucky for us, the data that has been collected by Waterwatch citizen scientists over the last 10 years has shown that in 8 locations, our platypus populations are fairly stable. The easiest time to spot a platypus in our region is August, when Waterwatch hosts Platypus Month. Anybody can come along and get involved and help us do a survey or come for a walk to learn more about platypus populations. Why do you get people to do this in the freezing cold winter, you ask? Well, I want them to have an authentic research technician experience. Actually, platypus need to eat more in winter because it's colder and they're getting ready to mate. So it's easier to see them because they're out and about a bit more. I tried this overeating mating strategy once myself in winter, but it really wasn't that successful. Perhaps I wasn't eating enough bugs. They just really didn't taste that great, even when I washed them down with an iced coffee and a sausage roll at 6 in the morning. Citizen science allows everybody to participate in caring for our catchments. Our program attracts over 2,000 people every year, and last year, Waterwatch volunteers contributed over 11,000 hours of their time to monitor the waterways of the bush capital for frogs, platypus, water bugs, and water quality. If you're interested in getting involved, search online for the Upper Murrumbidgee Waterwatch program to find out more. If you'd like reward and recognition for what you do, this is a great program to get involved with because you'll frequently be outstanding in a field. And look, if being outstanding in a field isn't a good enough enticement, there's always the breakfast of champions at an ungodly hour. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. You've been wonderful.